Hello and a very warm welcome to OBN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program, Diplomacy, and I'm Finfinne Balete hosting this program. Today we will be discussing conference diplomacy in this edition with my special guest, Assistant Professor Abiod Desta, researcher at Institute of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia. Till the end of our program, stay with us. Abiod, nice to meet you and welcome to this program.
Thank you.
Great. As I said, we will be discussing conference diplomacy, particularly about Finfinne city. But before we deeply dive into our discussion, would you tell us about how Ethiopia is positioning itself in global discussions around climate change and sustainability, please?
As we have already raised the point, Ethiopia is currently positioning or repositioning itself in terms of the fight against climate change, and Ethiopia has taken the initiative to regreen the landscape of Ethiopia through the Green Legacy Initiative, and now it has managed to plant over the last 5 or 6 years nearly 40 billion trees or seedlings of different varieties, some of which are trees, some others are fruits, some others are for different purposes. And this normally, as we all know, have come to account for about 17% of Ethiopia's total forest coverage, and this accomplishment over this very short period of time is something to be recognized and praiseworthy. Ethiopia is also projecting the same initiative into neighboring countries so that the same initiative would be able to help Ethiopia in order to foster regional integration in the Horn of Africa sub-region. And beyond that, this has actually won Ethiopia a recognition and an acceptance in international climate conferences, including the COPs, right? So in this regard, we can really say that Ethiopia has come to play the kind of leadership role in fighting against climate change and other environmental challenges that the world is facing, among which, Africa is the most vulnerable continent, and therefore it is becoming a sort of real model, I think we can say, this point.
How do you describe the importance of this green legacy for the people watching us all over the world, and what kind of initiative I understand Ethiopia has on these making the environment green?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is exceptionally important because when we say we are planting seedlings, we are just saying we are replanting lives. And we are doing this not only to the people of Ethiopia or to the people of Africa, but to the people of the world. And we can claim that we are saving the world when we are doing this. And this is scientifically proved, right? This is about regreening and rehabilitation of, or beyond rehabilitation of our forest covers, or beyond reforestation, right? This is about bringing a dynamic change in the fight against climate change, and also in terms of enabling societies and communities in order to better adapt to climate change, including climate change mitigation. But also it is crucially important in the longer term for Ethiopia in order to participate sufficiently in the global carbon market, right? So in terms of this thing, it is really important.
Let me come to our today's agenda, that is conference diplomacy, and we talk about Finfinne city. What makes Finfinne city attractive location for international organizations and embassies?
Yeah, thank you very much. Starting from its name, Finfinne, which is to mean spring in Afan Romo, or even in Amharic, Addis Ababa, which is new flower. The significance and attractiveness of Finfinne or Addis Ababa starts from this, right? And this is the kind of city which is, even in terms of geographical coordination, yes, located almost at the heart of the global map, or on the heart of the global map. This makes it really important, but many other important things. And in terms of conference, you know, there are different varieties of conferences internationally, international conference, right? Meaning that, yes, we are bringing in global actors, regional actors, or actors from different countries of the world into Addis Ababa. Yes? And what does make us, enable us, bring all these actors into our capital? There are a number of reasons. Number of reasons can be mentioned. Perhaps the first most important factor that attracts actors, countries, organizations to come to Addis Ababa is the fact that Addis Ababa is a gateway to Africa. When actors think of Addis Ababa, they think of Africa. It means that they are coming to Africa, right? And the fact that Addis Ababa is headquarters of AU is one important symbol that brings in actors. The other thing is associated with the presence of AU is the presence of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa in Addis Ababa, which again brings together African countries, but also multilateral and bilateral organizations to come to Addis Ababa and hold conferences and high-level international meetings. So these things are important political level sources of attraction for different actors to come to Addis Ababa. In this regard, you know, Addis Ababa has become almost, you know, the third largest city of the world in terms of attracting high number of foreign missions or foreign service missions, including embassies. And Addis Ababa is now, if you remember, I think finance report, Addis Ababa has got some 137 foreign missions or embassies. And this means a lot. And this is an opportunity for Addis Ababa to bring actors, because when they come to Addis Ababa, they don't only meet locals, they also meet foreigners. It has already been expanded to a large spectrum of international audience in Addis Ababa, right? This is an important thing. And how did this come about? We can say that we have earned it. Yes, Addis Ababa had been built during the time when colonialism had been swaying Africa. Yes, and throughout that years and decades of struggle, Addis Ababa continued to shine, serving as almost the only independent African capital that attracted the attentions of foreign countries. This is another important factor, you know, at least historically. And recently, you can see that Addis Ababa is growing as a city, physically, in terms of population-wise, geographic area. Addis Ababa is growing, and there is this expansion of conference infrastructure and the facilities in Addis Ababa in different dimensions. And this includes the recent government initiative of upgrading or taking the city to transforming the city from a traditional city to a kind of a smarter city. This is one of the big ambitions, the higher ambitions that the city is making in order to provide the necessary facilities, the necessary infrastructure to hold international conferences. Along with this, by the way, we can come back to discussing the reasons for why, but also what is discussed. What is discussed in Addis Ababa. Three important conferences are generally held, and when we say conference cities, fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have too many conference cities in Africa. This by itself may make Addis Ababa an attractive one. So South Africa has three. Kenya has one, Nairobi, Cairo, Egypt, and a few others, despite the many African countries, despite the presence of 55 African countries, right? The fact that Addis Ababa is also a primate city for which facilities are being, provided, expanded, makes it again an attractive city. But it has a challenge, in fact, that Addis Ababa might be encountering a pressure because international conferences are increasing in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa needs an alternative city or town. You know that Addis Ababa is a primate city. This thing is make Addis Ababa. The other important things that make Addis Ababa is, that because now I have said, I hope, we have three types of conferences. Political conferences or diplomatic negotiations or high-level state-to-state conferences, which is purely political. The other is business conferences, commercial conferences. The other is scientific conferences. These three are very critical. In terms of political, it is what I have mentioned to you. In terms of business, if we see, business is expanding in Addis Ababa and in Ethiopia as well, as the economy keeps growing and expanding. And we will be having in Addis Ababa a number of trade fairs and exhibitions, because we are also having open exhibition spaces as facilities for conferences in Addis Ababa, right? We come to the scientific conferences. To your surprise, scientific conferences might be a huge source of attraction for Addis Ababa. I can raise a number of issues, but I can start from Lucy. Ethiopia, therefore, Addis Ababa is the origin of mankind. And if you meet foreign nationals, they might say to you, like, we all are technically Ethiopians. And there is a reason that nationals of other countries want to come to discuss about human condition in Addis Ababa, especially academics and scientific communities in humanities and social sciences. The other critical point is Adwa. The Adwa legacy is very critical. Every country in the world wants and wishes to be and stay triumphant, and no country wishes to be a loser or to be colonized. That becomes a fact of history. And Ethiopia, Addis Ababa has done that. Yes? And therefore, for scientific communities to study history and deal with history, Addis Ababa could be on the first row. The other thing is biodiversity. Ethiopia is one of the few hotspot countries of biodiversity. and the scientific communities who are engaged in genome studies, especially regarding the endangered species, both plants and animals, could wish, want, and even need to come to Addis Ababa, closer to nature, and understand nature. And that it provides an opportunity in this regard. The other important thing is that, Addis Ababa is naturally a suitable place in terms of having suitable climatic conditions. 5 varieties of climatic conditions that make Ethiopia a unique country. That can be considered as one important. The other thing is Ethiopia is the land of coffee, an origin of coffee. And there is no national of the world that doesn't wish to come to Addis Ababa to discuss about coffee varieties, along with what I have said, biodiversity issues. This is what Ethiopia and therefore Addis Ababa has contributed to the world, right? And the other could be culture. Ethiopia.
Yeah, actually, I'm coming to that question because you said many international organizations and regional organizations come to Addis or Finfinne, and Ethiopia hosts that. So, in what ways does Finfinne promote this culture, especially cultural diplomacy among nations represented in the city?
Addis Ababa has already become a cosmopolitan city that embraces varieties of cultures, or limitless number of cultures in the world, right? This is an African capital and a global capital. Cultures meet here. Cultures converge here. We have already said that Addis Ababa has got about 137 embassies, and they bring varieties of cultures into Addis Ababa. They make contacts and they make exchanges. Otherwise, we do also have cultural study centers in Addis Ababa. Italian, Pushkin, French, right?
Sure.
Spanish, Arabic. There are many.
How does the infrastructure of Finfinne city support this role as Center for International Diplomacy?
Thank you very much. Currently, there is a good, we can say, a greater confidence that Addis Ababa can host international conferences, political, business, and scientific. Previously, or over historical time, Addis Ababa had more or less 2 international convention centers. One of was the African Union Conference Center. The other was the United Nations Conference Center, which is based in United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. In fact, we had the Millennium Hall or Conference Center, but that was not really as enabling as we could be talking about. Otherwise, currently, Ethiopia in this year has built a big international conference center, which has the capacity to host about 10,000 people at the same time. A international convention center that has got 2 big halls that hosts 4,000 each, and other 8 syndicate halls, including outdoor exhibition spaces and on-site hotels and other facilities. This is very important, and it is an enabling condition. The same international convention center has also recreation centers, such as amphitheater centers. It has got two. It has got, I have said, hotels. Yes. The other is, currently a recent report indicates that about 11 five-star hotels has secured international standard. It doesn't mean that these 11 hotels, five-star hotels, meet the needs of international conference, meet the demand. The demand is high, but that the presence of these hotels provide some momentum. It is an important leveraging point, we can say. The other is, the presence of Bole International Airport very closer to city center. That is an important issue. And the other is, currently we are observing expanding parking cultures, open space cultures, spaces where people wish to want to relax after discussion in bounded halls, right? This culture is an important momentum. For example, an important example in terms of parking spaces is Lemi Park, one of the largest in Addis Ababa, Other things are, technological advances that enhance facilities, infrastructures for holding international conferences, high-level conferences, and that include ICT connections, ICT conference solutions, and also the strengthening speed of internet connectivity in the city, especially at conference, convention center spaces. Therefore, the integration into technology, especially ICT technology, is one important momentum to attract international conferences, because that facilitates communication greatly. The other thing is the development, expansion of financial sector. A number of private banking services are located based in Addis Ababa, and conference participants do have alternatives to make transactions and also to make deals, because we have said that one of the aspects of conference is business conference, and some of these business conferences could be about expanding the banking sector, the financial sector. Currently, you can see that Ethiopia has engaged in opening up, right? Under current condition, in a liberalizing scenario, the expansion of such financial services is an important momentum in terms of attracting interested actors in holding conferences in Addis Ababa. And the other, which should not be forgotten, is in fact the development of communication facility, and we take a pride in Ethio Telecom, and now we have another competitor, Safaricom. And these facilities are important levers for promoting conference diplomacy in Addis Ababa.
How does being a diplomatic hub contribute to local economy?
Okay, thank you very much. This is the very purpose of having conference diplomacy in Addis Ababa. When we make political conferences, high-level political conferences, we might be engaging in security issues in order to resolve conflicts, right? And when we engage in scientific conferences, it could be about dealing with knowledge, production, dissemination, and consumption of knowledge management issues. But when it comes to business conference, it is clearly important that it is linked to economy. Ethiopia's trade, Ethiopia's investment, right? Including foreign aid issues, right? These are three important means by which a country boosts its economy globally: through international trade, promoting trade, through foreign direct investment, and through foreign aid. The other important benefit for Addis Ababa to host international conferences that yes, when these large number of conference participants flock to Addis Ababa, it means that Addis Ababa generates cash in significantly high amount. Therefore, it attracts foreign currency through tourism. In this regard, conference diplomacy is closely linked to tourism diplomacy, which is also closely linked to green legacy in terms of promoting ecotourism. When conferences come to Addis Ababa, they might not be purely based in Addis Ababa. Currently, they might be willing to go out of the city and pay a visit to expanding eco-lodges and resources. And therefore, especially for nature lovers, cultural lover tourists, this is an important opportunity. And the country and Addis Ababa, including tourists, meet, two purposes through one means, or two birds through one stone. I could say it like that.
Assistant Professor Abiod Desta, researcher at Institute of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, I really thank you very much for your deep insights and your precious time as well.
Thank you. Welcome.
Dear viewers, you have been watching our weekly program Diplomacy on your favorite media channel, OBN Horn of Africa. Thank you very much for watching this program and stay safe. Bye-bye.